أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين الذي يذهب الله عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم الحمد لله سبحان الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت عليم حكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي يفوض أمري إلى الله بصير بالعباد سلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, now we reached the last lecture of the series. It's unbelievable how fast these days went by, and we are now on the concluding session of our series into the journey of the soul. There has definitely not been enough justice done to the subject. It's a vast subject, as vast as the soul is. It's an infinite subject, it's an infinite journey. But we try our best and we ask Allah to accept these efforts and help us understand ourselves so we can understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and our journey and our purpose. Now, looking at our previous discussions, I would like to not only conclude but also try to bring some sort of completeness to the discussion. And I want to continue from the hadith of Hazrat Kumail alayhi salam that we read yesterday, that Imam Ali told Hazrat Kumail, where he said that knowledge has led the awliya al-haq, the friends of truth, to the reality of insight. They are in contact with the spirit of certainty. They find easy what is regarded as rough by those who live in comfort and luxury. They are intimate with what terrifies the ignorant. They are in company of people with their bodies, yet their souls are lodged in the highest realm. I want to look into it a little bit because this is a really, really important quality of the person who has transcended that material density of the world where everything is about cause and effect. I had mentioned this earlier. Dr. Wayne Dyer says something really beautiful to explain this phenomena, and he says that people of God don't say how, they just say yes, right? People who get into the how of things, they go into the cause and effect. So how will my children go to school? When I have money, so I will pay the fee, right? How will I plan for my future? I will work really hard. I will put a savings account, and then, tomorrow I will do this. There's a lot of future planning happening. I am sick because my reports are saying I'm really sick. So I will get better if I take medicine, if I do, this therapy, that therapy. Then when the reports will say, there's improvement, then I will think that I'm getting cured. But people of God, they don't say how. They have this 100% faith and certainty in Allah's power, in Qudrat. And they don't ask how. They just believe that good things are on their way. They just believe in the kun fayakun of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they rely on Him on a moment-to-moment basis. They live a life of day-to-day. Now, one can ask this question, which was asked to Eckhart Tolle in one of the live sessions I was watching. And the person asked that I have bills to pay. I have to pay money. I have to plan for my, expenditures. And you're telling me that I shouldn't worry about the future and I shouldn't, plan. And the example he gave was that even squirrels, they plan for their future. Even squirrels will go and collect their acorns or whatever to plan for the future. And you're telling me I shouldn't. So Eckhart Tolle replied and he said, there's a you have quoted a wrong fact in your question. You said that even squirrels worry about their food and sustenance. And Eckhart Tolle said that squirrels just plan and they work according to the plan, they don't worry. So that's the difference between us and them. They're in the present moment. If they realize that they have to do something, they'll get to it and do it and leave the rest to their creator, their Malik. As human beings, what we do is that we don't just do what we need to do, we also worry. And worry is a sign of having lack of trust, having lack of faith, and not being able to let go and leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to get into that state where we let go of the how and the why. We let go of the how and how it's going to be done. How will I get cured? There's no cure for my disease. How will I get cured? And so we understand that the way to go about being transcending the material dense world is to be able to let things go into Allah's hands and remember that all good is in Allah's hands. And so we don't work with this cause and effect, right? How do we do that? If, for example, I want to put somebody in school and I want to collect funds for them, right? I don't get attached to the fact that how will the funds come, and if they don't come, this child is going to be ruined, his life is going to be finished, and all of that. First of all, I rely on Allah's plan and say that everything is in Allah's hands. Second of all, Allah has given me this opportunity to help someone. I'm going to try my best. Then whatever the results will come, I will surrender. So the whole journey is about listening to the voice in your heart, taking the action, and then letting it go. And then not staying in a state of worry. Staying in a state of worry is a sign that you're still attached to the cause and effect of this world. And it's not easy, and we're perpetually in a state of stress and anxiety. And this is our condition, this is our human condition. And it's an indicator that we need work. We need to do more work on ourselves, right? When things start to irritate us, annoy us, they make us uncomfortable, they make us panicked or anxious, we know we need to do work. So their bodies are in this world, but their souls are lodged in a higher realm. That means that even though they're living here, they're not attached to the law and order of this world. Their souls are in a different realm where everything is possible, where everything is working, where everything is good. Like I had said, that Hindu guru, he says, nothing ever goes wrong in my world. If nothing ever goes wrong in your world, you never be worried, right? So their bodies are in this world, but their souls are lodged in a higher realm of faith and trust and belief, where things happen, where things don't get stuck, where you are not mistreated, where everything is justice, where everything is good. Now, moving forward, I want to talk about the idea of the symbols that we were doing. And the Holy Quran says, "Sanurihim ayatina fil afaqi wa fi anfusihim hatta yattabayyana lahum annahu al-haq." So we will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. This has been the ayah that we've been going back to again and again. And today I want to bring in another symbol that we need to decode. And these symbols are the symbols of the prophets, the Aimma, the Imams, the holy, lofty personalities. When Allah is saying that everything which is outside is also within you, our scholars say that within our hearts, within our souls, we have all the dimensions and all the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fed into us like a chip that was inserted. So within us is the Holy Prophet dimension. Within us is the Bibi Fatimah Zahra dimension. Within us is the Mahdi dimension. Within us is the dimensions of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Within us is an infinite world, like Imam Ali says, that within you is the whole universe. And what's the purpose of discussing this is that when we have these dimensions within us, and when we move towards the purification of the soul, our job then becomes to activate these names within us, activate these people who are lodged within us. So there's a file of Bibi Fatimah Zahra within our hearts, and it embodies what she stood for, right? her name Fatima, for example, the one who weans you off from the material world into a higher realm. Am I doing that? Am I weaning myself off this world and going into a higher realm? Within me is the dimension of the Holy Prophet with his uswatul hasana, with his kindness, with his truthfulness, with his sidq, with his faith, with his being a messenger. All of these dimensions are within me. Am I activating those? Am I polishing myself so that in moments of anger, am I able to be Qazimin al-Ghayth? Am I able to activate Musi Qazim within me? Am I able to talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be completely vulnerable and raw like Imam Zain al-Abidin is in his Sayfa Sajadiya? So this is the journey of the soul coming alive and blooming, because we have these these dimensions within us. They are within us, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying whatever is outside is within you, and our job is to activate them. When we go into this understanding of activating these holy personalities, lofty personalities, we understand that when we talk about these beautiful people and we say they were shaheed and they don't die, it's because their energies are alive, right? In the other realm, there is no form. There's no physical world. They exist as an energy, and we know energy doesn't get created or destroyed. So death is not really death, but it's just a transmission from one level, one kind of consciousness into another kind of consciousness. And so they're alive and their energies are alive. Am I able to benefit from the energy of Rasulullah? Am I able to benefit from the reservoir of the energy of Imam Hassan? So the idea is that when I start to benefit from their energies, I start to infuse my soul with those energies. And then these energies will show up as my Shafi, right? They become guiding lights. And that is the assimilation of these holy personalities within the realm of my soul, so that I can say that, because of this light, I can be saved on the day of judgment, because my soul holds that light. Because there's a concept in philosophy which is of likes staying with the likes. I'm forgetting the very technical terminology for it, but they say that when we say that Allah is Allah is the master of the day of judgment, then we say that, what Allah is going to do is that he's going to do justice. And what he says is that justice means that he will put those who are like others together. If in my core, I have transmuted my soul into something that is very similar to the Holy Prophet, I will be put with him. If my soul transmuted into something which is very close to the personality of, for example, Hitler, then I will be put with him. It's the principle of likeness. When we are like something, then we are going to be with that group. We will be put into that group of people or energies that are alike together. So when we say that Allah is going to do justice on that day, it's because justice means that I will be put into my place. And I have decided my place. Where do I want to be? That is going to be my place. And so we understand that our soul has to be open enough and, receiving enough to be activated with the kind of energies we want it to be put together with. And moving forward, I want to discuss now a dimension mentioned in the Quran. Like I said, there are all these dimensions within us. The prophets are within us. Animals are within us, right? We all know that story of Imam Zain al-Abidin, who was at the Kaaba and, he made his friend look through his fingers, and his friend only saw animals circling the Kaaba, and there were very few human beings because their souls had assimilated the shape of those animal qualities, right? We talked about Rumi, who said that our lowest form of the spirit is the animal spirit. So that is what we're speaking about. Now, in the Quran, the Holy Prophet, in the Quran, the Surah 27, ayah number 17 is about Hazrat Sulaiman, alayhi salam, the Prophet. And I am going to share some of my own insights, which I have shared with my teachers and scholars, and who felt that it was a very good interpretation. It was a good understanding but nevertheless, it's my own, and I'm not saying it's final in any way, but I have gotten it checked with a few scholars. So I am sharing it with you because we need to understand we want to go beyond the symbols, and we want to, maybe peel away the layers and try to read the Quran in a way that it can cause transformation within us, right? So over here, the ayat is about Hazrat Suleiman, where it says that, and gathered for Solomon were his soldiers of the jinn, men, and birds, and they were marching in rows until when they came upon the valley of the ants. And ant said, O ants, enter your dwellings, that you not be crushed by Solomon and his soldiers while they perceive not. Now, we see something really interesting in these ayat, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the rows were of jinns, humans, and birds, right? They're not talking about four-legged animals. They're not talking about reptiles. How come just jinns, humans, and birds? So that's one question. Now look at this ayat from the perspective of saying the whole narration of this story is happening within my soul. There are bird dimension, jinn dimension, human dimension, Solomon dimension, ant dimension, they're on within me. So what is the story of my soul that the Quran is telling me, right? Look at it from that perspective. When you look at it from that perspective, you realize that jinns, as we said yesterday, comes from the word Jannah, which is hidden, you can't see. So jinn is the hidden dimension within me, things I can't see. Human dimension is the human dimension, which over here the word in Arabic is ins, the forgetful dimension within me, right? And then it says the bird, tair, right? Now, tair, for me, inspiration came from the book written by Fariduddin Attar, the mystic. And he's written the book, Conference of the Birds. In that book, Fariduddin Attar relates that these birds are soul dimensions. These are the soul dimensions, the free ones that can fly, the liberated dimension. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the hidden, the manifest, and the liberated soul dimension within us. And this is an army that is marching within us at all times. There is a movement of these dimensions within us at all times. And when we understand these dimensions within us, we understand that the journey that was taking place, it's witnessed by the ant dimension, right? And the ant is telling all the other ants, let's go inside before the army of Solomon crushes us. What is an ant? If you look at it, an ant is dark, an ant is small, and the ant is scared. Ants were scared of the majesty, freedom, and the light of the great Solomon, right? In that sense, Solomon and his army represent the greatness of the human soul, the potential of the human soul, the prophetic potential that we hold within us. And every single time, the part of us, which is the ant dimension, which is scared, which is so attached to the darkness, which is so, wanting to living in its comfort zone, its tiny little zone. The minute it witnesses that bright light within us, it gets scared. And we hear these voices within ourselves. We're trying to do something great. We're trying to break out of the shackles of conditioning and human, social conditioning and shackles of society. We want to get out of it. We want to do something big. We want to do something different. And then there's this voice which makes us scared and gives us 10 different reasons to hold back and not do it. What people are going to say, and you're going to be cut off, and you're going to be an outcast, and, etc., etc. You won't be loved. That's the small ant dimension within us. And when the ant dimension, witnesses the Solomon dimension, it says, let me run back and go back into my comfort zone. And so many of us live this life of slavedom, which Imam Ali is saying, don't be enslaved. Don't be enslaved by the people in the society. Break these shackles. You were born free. Go and tap into your tair dimension, your bird dimension, and fly to see more. If you read the book Conference of the Birds, they're taking a journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Seymour is symbolic of their higher energy and higher power. So imagine if we could read the Quran in this way, where Solomon then becomes the expanded version of the soul, which is free, liberated, overcoming, it overcomes its weaknesses, it overcomes its excuses, it gets over its self-pity and low self-esteem. It understands its worth, that when it understands its worth through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it has the courage to fly high and do great things. On the other hand, there's the and dimension, which is the contracted state of the soul, which we said in the cone. It's really small and tiny and contracted. And it fears freedom. It fears to take risk because it doesn't feel like Allah has got its back, that Allah is holding it, right? It gets scared easily and it doesn't want to come out in the sun. It doesn't want to come out and face the light. It wants to go back into its dark hole. So Quran is a book that has come to liberate our souls and remind us of the greatness. And Imam Ali is saying again and again, you think you're a small entity, but you have the whole universe within you. You think, you can't do this, but the sickness is within you, but also the healing is within you. I want to read out a quote from Marianne Williamson. She's an amazing spiritual teacher, and she's also, I think, running for office in the States these days. And she has this beautiful saying that she says that our deepest fear is not that we are weak. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So this is the reality of the liberated human soul. Let's have a durood, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum ajil. Now what happens is that over the years, since our childhood and as we're growing up, the life that we spend, and the experiences that we have in our life, they start to form our beliefs and thoughts. And a lot of these beliefs are limiting beliefs. They make us feel small. They make us feel that.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear us? Okay, let's have a durood, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Okay, so a lot of us experience this life of limiting beliefs, where we think that things are not possible, where we think that things are not working out for me, I'm just stuck and nothing works out. There's so much tyranny in the world and there's so much injustice, and there's a lot of negativity, right? And if you watch, there's a talk on YouTube, there's a TED talk about why negativity comes to us by default, right? So by default, we actually fall into negative thought patterns, and the truth is that we need to understand that we have to work hard to get out of this negativity. We are not positive by default. We are negative by default, and we need to work hard to get out of this negativity, out of these negative beliefs, limiting beliefs. So we need to do the work. What happens is that since our childhood till we grow up, we build a statue, a hard layer of these limitations that cover us completely, and the real light gets hidden and it gets covered up and it becomes a hard statue, and we define ourselves as, I am a housewife, I am a mother, I am a daughter with a certain name in a certain city, in a certain profession, in a certain family, and that is all I am. This is who I am. I am not, for example, I don't want to be known as somebody who's weak. I don't want to be known as somebody who's sick. I don't want to be known as somebody who is unable, So we start to work hard to create this identity, and that identity starts to make us claustrophobic, because now we have to live up to those labels. And now I can't be flexible. I can't keep changing every day. I can't be a new person every day, because now I have decided, I have pledged to myself that I will be just this person for the rest of my life. Mom is saying you can't be the same person for 2 days. You have to keep changing. So, there's this teacher I learned a lot from, Vishen Lakhiani, who's the CEO of Mind Valley, and I actually work with that institute. And he says something really interesting. He says that when you meet a friend after a month or two, you should be needing to reintroduce yourself, who you are, because in those 1 or 2 months, you worked so much on yourself that now you've changed. You're a different person. That's how much growth and evolution we want. That's how much potential we have. When we get stuck in this covering of these labels that we want to live up to, then we close the path for our journey of growth. We can't change as people. We can't be somebody today which we weren't yesterday, and the flexibility goes away, and it becomes this rigid path where we start to become more and more claustrophobic, and we let go of that bird dimension within us. So we want to get out of our own way. There's a hadith of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin, and he says, get out of your own way and I will come. And we mentioned that Imam Mahdi's movement, the Mahdiism movement, is all about unity. It's about becoming greater than ourselves. It's a selfless journey of uniting the world, right? And Imam Mahdi is saying, get out of your own way. We need to get out of our own way. Can I get out of my way and surrender to the flow of life and where it's taking me and what Allah wants me to be? So, if I get an opportunity to express what I truly want to do, which is in my heart, but I can't do it because I'm so scared of what people are going to say, but my heart is screaming to me every day when I wake up, do this, do this, do this, but I shut that voice down just because of what people are saying. I am not surrendering to the voice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in my heart, right? Because I'm too scared. I'm using that, I'm staying in that ant dimension. I'm not moving into the Solomon dimension of greatness and majesty. So we want to get out of our own way. And what we want to do now is understand, how do I get out of my own way, right? To just give a small brief summary of the isharat given by, sorry, not isharat, but there are 4 journeys that Urafa talk about, and I think, if I'm not wrong, it's Mullah Sadra who's given these 4 journeys of the soul. So in the book of Sayr wa Suluk, different mystics give their own stages in the journeys of the soul, and Mullah Sadra has given 4 journeys, right? The first journey is Sayr min al-Khalq ila al-Haq. So from creation to God, right? You're with the creation and you move towards the creator. The second journey is Sayr bil Haq fil Haq. Second journey is with God to God, right? So, okay, let me just say it and then I will give a little explanation. And then the third journey is Sayr min al-Haq ila al-Khalq bil Haq. With God, from God to creation, right? You're with God, from God to creation. And then Sayr fil Khalq bil Haq. And now the journey is from creation, in creation with God. You're in the creation with God. Like we said, the Awliya al-Haq, their bodies are in this world, but their souls are lodged in a different realm. So they're with the creation, they're with the creation and they're with God. Now, when we go through this journey, we understand that there are stages that we will tangibly feel. So there will be a stage where I will say that I want something in this dunya, right? I want, for example, I want a certain degree. So I pray to Allah, I want a degree. So my intention of life is that degree. Allah hasn't even entered the picture yet. I just want that degree. That's my destination. That's where I want to go. Then my situation changes. And actually before that, even before asking Allah for that degree, I'm asking my parents or my teacher, or I'm working hard to get money. So I'm actually worshiping money. And I'm saying, oh, money, come to me so you can help me get my degree. There's no God in this. And if I'm after my parents or my peers and I'm saying, please, please, please help me get enough loan, or I'm after the bank and saying, give me enough money so I can get this degree, Allah is not even in the picture. I'm with the creation so far. Then the journey says, I awaken and I say, okay, no, I want to go to God. So I say, I want this degree, but I want it from God. God, give me this. I'm asking you, please give it to me. And then the journey is with God, in God. And so your journey transforms into a place where you say, now I don't want anything. I don't want the degree or the house or the car unless it takes me to God. So now the journey has changed from I am with God and I'm in God, right? Because it's all about God now. And then it's saying with God, from God to creation. And now you have felt this presence of God, and you have, awliya Allah say these things, that they've been with this divine presence, and then they do life in creation. And then eventually, they're in creation, but they're constantly with God. So there are these stages to the soul that goes through this journey, and eventually the focus and the destination of our desire only becomes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that happens with the purification of intention. And the example of that I give with water, that if water is pure, it's only one ingredient. There are no two ingredients in that glass of water, and you'll say it's pure water. If I add even one more ingredient in it, I'll say it's impure. The same way, the intention that we have, the destination, the internet connection is unstable, so I'm going to stop. So the destination that I'm looking for, if it's only one destination, then it's a pure intention. So for example, if I'm giving charity, and I'm giving charity because I want to detach with money and I want to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's a pure intention. But if I say that I'm giving charity to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also because I want to ask for the health of my child, there's nothing wrong with it, but it comes under shirk-e khafi, because now in your intention you want two things, not one thing. And the awliya Allah, they don't want anything but Allah. Their only desire is only and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are the journeys of the soul, and we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes us on this journey. And then what I wanted to talk about are the seven journeys of the soul. And in the 7 journeys of the soul, our literature has given the 7 nufoos, right? The nafs. So the first one is nafs-e amara. The second is nafs-e lawama. The third is nafs-e mulhama. The fourth is nafs-e mutmainna. The fifth is nafs al-radhiya, and the sixth is nafs al-mardiya, and the last one is nafs al-kamila or nafs-e mutmainna. And so we have different names for these nufoos in different texts, different descriptions. And we start with the lowest nafs, which is nafs-e amara. It is the animal, or the animal unrestricted nafs, which is the nafs al-hayvaniya. And this nafs competes with God because there is a lot of evil. This is also called the nafs-e iblisiya. And it is convinced that it's perfect and that others are flawed. And it feels that, it's going to live forever. And it's a very demanding, commanding kind of a state. Now, if we look at it from the perspective of the chakras, right? Because I wanted to connect it with the chakras, it's connected to the lowest chakra. And the lowest chakra is where there is the sexual energy of creation. Now, if we go off with this energy, right? If it goes into the wrong usage of energy, then this is what happens. You become the nafs-e hayvaniya and nafs-e iblisiya. However, imagine the amount of energy it takes to create a baby, right? This is where we have our creative energy. If our soul overcomes the nafs-e hayvaniya at this stage, it can unlock the power of creativity. It can unlock the power of being creative. And when this center is in balance, your creative energy flows easily, and you're also grounded in your identity as who you are. So I am actually going with the Islamic text and the yogic text of the chakras, because I find they're so alike and they work together beautifully to get a better understanding of how to use them in the practical sense. The next one is nafs-e lawama, and what happens in this center is that over here, when there is a sin, nafs-e lawama comes and tells us. It creates that guilt within us, and it's the blaming one, right? And there's a saying of the Holy Prophet which says that all humans are prone to sin, and the best sinners are those who repent. So this is the place of returning, going back, realizing between the right and the wrong. And there's a constant fluctuation between obedience and disobedience, which we had said, which is the state of the soul, which is the state of the qalb, which is in constant state of change and flux. Its healing remembrance is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is the self in its original state of birth into the world, as Allah says, be the one by who brought the self to equilibrium, inspiring it with its transgression and its consciousness. It's Surah Shams, ayah number 8. According to the yogic understanding, this energy center is related to social networks, structures, relationships, support systems, family cultures, and interpersonal relationships. Think about it as the center for holding on or letting go, consuming or eliminating. When this center is in balance, you feel safe and secure both in your environment and in the world. What does that mean? That over here, you're moving into a good opinion of God. That is when you're going to feel safe in the environment that you're in and in the world, because now you have a good opinion. You don't think world is a bad place. You're feeling safe, right? Because you're saying, in my world, nothing ever goes wrong. Now, the third level is Nafsul Mulhama. This is the third chakra. And this is where there is a certainty of self as imperfect and faulty, and you understand your weakness and you understand your smallness. It is the inspired self. And at this level, the self is inspired with the early stages of love for good, wholesome deeds, Amalun Saleh. It is also inspired with love of remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to seeking forgiveness and correcting intention and niyyah and renewing repentance and tawbah. This is the last level of the danger for the self, for it is still vulnerable to descending to the lower stages of blame and commanding. Tawbah, as we know, is a process of returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. According to the chakras, when the third center is in balance, you use your will and your drive to overcome your environment and conditions in your life. You see now, this is the power of the human soul emerging out of its cocoon. This is where you're coming into your Solomon dimension, out of your Ant dimension. This is where you're saying, my situation, my life, my past doesn't define me. I'm going to overcome all of that. And this is where, unlike the second center, this center becomes naturally activated when you perceive that your environment is not safe or unpredictable. So you must protect and take care of your tribe and yourself. So you're out of that danger mentality, and now you're feeling like you have that backing. You're starting to feel that light and faith in your heart, where you feel like I can do this, I can overcome these obstacles, and you return to the fitra of overcoming your blame life. Like now you're getting rid of the blame. Now blame for parents is going, blame for life is going, blame to God is going, the anger is going. This is the polishing, and as the polishing happens, this is where we start to come. Now, the fourth chakra is the heart chakra. If we look at the heart chakra, right, this is the place where, if you look at the heart chakra, this is in the center. So there are 3 chakras above and 3 chakras below it. And when we look at the heart chakra, it's in the center, right? Is it okay now? Because I stopped in the middle because it said internet was unstable. Is it okay now? Just give me a message in the chat. I can't see all the participants. Okay, so is it okay now? It's fine? Okay. So the heart chakra is the 4th chakra, right? The 4th chakra is the green chakra, the heart chakra. And the heart chakra is in the center. There are 3 chakras above and 3 chakras below. That means that it's in the center, and you can form the number 8 over here. Number 8 is also the sign of infinity. So this is where we can find that portal of entering into the formless. Now, after the lower 3 dimensions, sorry. Okay, so we're back. You guys can hear me, see me? Okay. Thank you for your patience. We have connection issues. Okay. So we were talking about the heart chakra, right? And we were saying it forms the number 8, and number 8 is the sign of infinity. So according to the mystics and the scholars and the people who studied the chakras, they say that um, after we've overcome the lower 3 chakras, the lower 3 levels of the soul, this is where the journey enters into the higher realms of consciousness. Um, and so we really need to understand that now when we are going to go and talk about what Imam Ali was telling Kumail, that their bodies are lodged in, if their bodies are in this world, but they're lodged in higher realms. This is what I want to share with you, something that I read from Deepak Chopra's book. It's called How to Know God. It's a fantastic book, one of the best I've read. And it takes a little while to get used to this book and understand it. And